Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live high above the keep in the hot air balloon. Tonight, as always, I have Neindorf with me. Neindorf, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to talk about some of the stuff we've got cooking.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since we've uh, hung out in both, I guess, real life and in on podcasts too. So, what has your family been up to recently here?
Honestly, we're kind of in the thick of trying to get our rhythm back with schools, starting not all that long ago. And as I was mentioning to you before stream, what ends up happening there is sometimes kids pick up bugs from other kids.
Yeah, that's it would be great on the tavern when your heroes are summoning if they like picked up like a sickness from another hero
Uh,
and like, oh, it's like I can't summon as potently this next week. um
uh,
Idea Hubert to slow down summoning. Yeah, we are kind of dealing with a similar thing. I got a bit of a gargle in my voice with kind of feeling a little under the weather here. Some of that was self-inflicted. I recently had a birthday over the well celebration over the last weekend, and there was karaoke. And as you know, when there's drinking and when there's karaoke, that's a mess for me.
oh yes. There might have been a time or two in our past where that came up.
Right. Actually, that is a secret project that we're working on. I'm trying to get Neindorf to do a parody collaboration with me where we're actually
Oh, I forgot all about that.
singing a song. I have my parts recorded, and I think we're going to employ the help of Stick's intern for his amazing video and audio work, and Sergeant for pulling the video together, and then maybe doing some video graphics. So
Yeah,
looking,
you're right. You totally mentioned that, and I totally forgot. So yeah, I think I
well,
owe you some audio.
yeah, we'll have to get you in the studio soon here. So yeah, we're prepping for Halloween here at the Raff House. We bought a 12-foot skeleton this year, so that went up this last weekend after I recovered from a night of karaoke. So yeah, that's what we've been working on in real life, and then in the game we have two amazing projects going on right now. We have the raffle project and the main event, which is PVE, which we'll talk about here in a moment. So, tell us about the raffle project. Let's go there first. I'm gonna bring up the current raffle on stream. We just started a new one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
So
take us away.
absolutely, yeah. We've hit on it a little bit in the past, but long story short is we really wanted to uh, help this community with some sort of fun way to burn extra gold. It's one of the assets in this game that we have seen studying kind of the market data. It is basically growing. The total market for gold is growing like crazy. There's over 2.5 billion gold in existence now. So you're like, what's a fun way we could do to help, maybe stem some of that? So the original idea was kind of like a 50-50 raffle, where, you enter in 1,000 gold, say, and you get some entries, and then the winner takes some gold, and we'll burn some gold. And it kind of grew from there, right? I mean, people had the idea of, well, what if I wanted to donate other items or heroes or pets uh, into these raffles? And so, sure enough, people have been doing that. We just completed our third raffle in a row that exceeded its million gold pot in order for the raffle to actually complete. If it's less than a million gold in the pot, it'll keep going for another week. So thanks to all of our donors out there who sent in items. I think it was cool. We had like 5 moksha runes, which was really cool to
Yeah.
see. I know you had given a legendary hero in the past, so yeah, it's just kind of a fun way for us to help, burn some gold, win some prizes, give out some stuff, and help our community just have one more thing to do, I guess.
Yeah, looking at that gold minted per hour average really helps land the plane sell the pitch, so to speak. So,
That's right.
well done showing that here. I think this is awesome. A lot of fun. And so the DFK team gave us tiers for the first one, the equivalent of the total gold in tiers, and
That's
we
right.
are rationing those out, and we're going to give them all away, but we're going to give them away over the next series of raffles, and we're not putting a date on that because we're trying to kind of keep those in to incentivize everyone as we go along, right?
Yep, that's right. Yeah, it ended up being a pretty hefty sum of a little over 8,600 tiers. So
Woo!
we uh we gave away 1,000 of them in the previous raffle that just completed. So that was a really cool prize, along with those mokshas and heroes and pets. So, we'll figure it out, but I'm pretty sure we'll be dropping some more of those tiers in this current raffle that just got kicked
Uh huh.
off. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. All right, so I have a game geared up here. So this is a main event time. I called the name of the episode "Secret Alpha." PVE is about to release, and is this boar hunting? No, it's not boar hunting. This is the Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms Adventures Arcade PVE, which is about to release. So first, what I'm going to do is bring up on screen our document that kind of shows our combat style. Walk us through, and then I have geared up a forest challenge ready to go. Walk us through what you and Skillet have been building. It's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're kind of going for a very simplistic game where, it's not going to be real time. We're doing a turn-based game here. We're doing, as we've discussed in the past, it's kind of a weighted rock, paper, scissors analog where, you've got brute, reckless, and calculated. So you've kind of got stand-ins for rock, paper, scissors. And effectively what you're going to show is that um, we have basically a dungeon that you can navigate as part of this PvE adventure, and you're going to choose what attack style you want to do, which hero you want to use, and then what enemy you want to attack. And so once you make those choices and submit, basically the game takes over and it'll crunch the numbers and tell you what happens. Um, and it's kind of a real fun way to use your heroes, and also have a chance to possibly earn some tickets here, some raffle tickets.
I'll drop a link to our turn-based strategy, rock paper scissors. I'll call it white paper, into chat right now. Oh, that's not chat. Here we go. So this is nice to have up while you're playing if you haven't played the game very much, and we're hoping this becomes, I keep telling people it's I'm going for the Othello slogan, where it's easy to learn, takes a lifetime to master. And I really think it's going to gain some steam when we start doing PvP, when it's not like percentage based choices that the enemy is making. It's then a mind game. I'm really excited about how that's going to shake out, and that's something that we're working on as well in the background. But first, what we're going to do is release PVE. So we're getting close to releasing this out into the wild. Right now, it's in limited alpha testing. I guess I would call it beta testing at this point because it's beyond us, and it's community members that are in our Discord right now. And we have given access to the Adventures Arcade. So if you're on the ADFK website here, click on Adventures Arcade, and then we have the beginnings of our new website style, which I absolutely love, a tile-based style system. And we have story mode, we have PvE mode, and player versus player mode. So we're trying to give you some flavor of what's to come. Right now we have the tutorial for the story, nothing else beyond that. And for PvE, we have the forest challenge. And so once we release this and you have access to the game, you can click on the forest challenge here, load in your heroes, and choose to wager crystal. And so here we have credits and crystal. Give us a kind of a brief rundown of what are credits and crystal, how do they work, and what does that mean for a player to load kind of their crystal or their credits into the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a good point to distinguish between. Yeah, so credits are effectively it's akin to going to an arcade and dropping a quarter in to play, and that's a fact. That's exactly what it is right now. To add credits, there's the link on the top right there. If you click it, basically it takes you to a page that's very similar to depositing crystal, jade, or jewel for subscription time. Only it's going to a different wallet address so that we can track these items separately from the back end side of the website. So once you basically bring up, you deposit, so many crystal and you get, say, 5 credits. That's basically 5 games that you can play, and that's kind of our how we kind of pay ourselves for the effort of playing this game. The second mechanism is the crystal. That is, at the moment, that is explicitly used for wagering in a PVE game. Now, again, like you said, PvP will be there in the future. But for now, crystal is to wager for PvE. So what does it mean to wager? Basically, you're saying, I'm going to try to do my best to meet par for this particular dungeon, and then we will basically use the crystal that you wagered and purchase and distribute raffle tickets to the primary registered account of your wallet. Of your account. So it's kind of a fun way. It's thinking back. It's a lot like what we all used to know for Fight Club, where you could basically play Fight Club matches against its AI, and you could earn raffle tickets. So this is kind of our system. Uh, it's the next third party game that you can earn raffle tickets on, which is really cool. We've had a lot of work and interaction with the DFK team on this, and they have been fantastic, I would say.
Yeah. And up here on screen right now, I'm showing a Excel sheet that has 9v9 war. War, I have that spelled incorrectly. It's WARR.
That's right.
And you can win at a rate of, if you're winning 50% of your raffle tickets, you're at about an 88 tickets per crystal paid win rate. And for what we're going for with our ADFK PVE win rate is we're trying to get really darn close to that. And so we are at about 83 raffle tickets per crystal paid. Now, there is also one other big factor is that right now we are allowing people to bet and wager more than 10 crystal. And so if you look at it from a time-based system, you have the opportunity to, wager 1,000 crystal if you see fit. And that, would save you the time of, you can't go do 1,000 duels right off the bat. So, or, 100 duels right off the bat. And so I think this is a very efficient way for you to earn a very strong rate of raffle tickets. And so, big thanks to the team for allowing us to provide as competitive of a rate as we can. This we feel is quite fair. They didn't want to undercut their system, and I felt like they didn't shy away from forcing us to use a rate that was way worse than their system. So I'm very appreciative to what they're allowing us to do. And like you said, you could, if you get par, and we'll explain what par is in a moment here, you'll earn at the pretty much the same rate as winning 50% of your duels. And if you get less than par, the worst that you'll do is 50% of the rate of duels. And so you'll never do worse than 25% win rate in duels, which is a nice floor for people, I believe. And I hope it's a floor that makes people feel a lot more confident in wagering big numbers and big crystal to go get those juicy raffle ticket prizes. So explain a little more of a par in terms of how do we rank people going through a dungeon.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, what par is a calculation on the dungeon. It basically looks at how many rooms are in this dungeon, how many enemies there are, and then what the caliber of the enemy is. So there's regular enemies, mini bosses, and bosses, and it's a calculation therein of all of that. So basically, we're gonna give you more turns to beat a boss than we would to beat a regular enemy. Similarly, if there's a lot of rooms in a dungeon, I mean, it's gonna take you longer to navigate around. So it's all par is all about the turn count, or think of it in the number of selections that you have to make, the number of answers you have to submit, rather. And then there's other things that are going to factor into that too. Right now, uh, another big one is resting. That's a turn, and there's a formula for what it means to rest and how much health your heroes recover. I don't really want to spoil it, but there will be other things you can spend turns on in the future. So just keep an eye out for that too.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, I'm jumping into the forest challenge here. And these heroes that I have geared up, I have a monk, I have a paladin, and I have a summoner. And they're
What levels roundabout are these guys?
all level one.
Oh, so this is going to be fun for me because I usually play with like my level 15-ish guys just because, they're like my favorites. But I'm really curious to see how the balance is going to play out here for level ones.
Yeah, so I essentially what this does is it drops you in a set path dungeon. And your goal, like you said earlier, is to try to navigate through this entire dungeon in the fewest turns possible and to clear all the enemies out. And so I'm going to click on the Eerie Woods here. I'm going to go there first. And I am encountering a foul hogling and a riled razorback. I love the naming that you did here. Absolutely
uh,
amazing. Um, so we already have PVE Boar Hunt going on here.
oh, that's hilarious that you happened to run into the boars first.
I
That was not in, by the way.
ran into the boars here. So um, for those who didn't kind of read the white paper, we have a very abbreviated version showing here where there's brute, which is greater than reckless, which is greater than calculated, and then that loops around. So calculated is better than brute. And so, how do you approach the enemies? Do you go your strength, or do you choose based off the enemy's weakness and why?
Yeah, so I've played quite a few as we've kind of been playtesting this, and so it's really interesting. I didn't really think of there being much of a dynamic originally when we came up with this rock paper scissors style, but since it's a weighted rock paper scissors and you don't know what your enemy is going to choose, and it's a weighted choice based on the underpinning class that is um, in the, let's say, at the back end of each monster. What under the hood, which is what I think is really cool, is there is a hero out there in the world that is backing these enemies. So they're a real hero, and we're using their stats to basically fulfill or fill out this monster. So you can kind of see, again, the our paper will kind of tell you what stats feed into brute, reckless, and calculated, but the summary at the bottom there is the effective damage that if that enemy beats you, say the Hoglin, right? If he chooses brute and beats you, you're going to get 19 damage.
Yep.
And so you can kind of start to weigh these against each other. And what I think is really important to me is if you look up at the top, he's also got 19 HP. So if I think I can beat him, my thing is all about turn count, right? We want to keep those turns down. So how can I get rid of his 19 HP with my choices quickly? What I'm seeing right now already is your brute attacks, for example, just picking one of the styles, none of them are going to kill him in one shot. And
Mm-hmm.
that's unfortunate because that's in a base enemy, that's what you really want to be able to see. So that makes you think maybe I should choose something else. So that's kind of where I start.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try to go for. I have a summoner here for in the first slot who has a very strong calculated attack base. I think even though I wouldn't knock him out in one turn, I think I'm gonna go for the big Razorback here, and I'm gonna choose calculated because he's more likely to pick his brute base attack, right?
So it's hard to say because now this is a really important point. The numbers that you're seeing at the bottom here are their potential damages. It is a separate equation that determines what
Their growth rate is.
what they're going to select as an enemy AI. Effectively, what that is the two stats. It's the sum of the primary and secondary growth rates of those stats. So say these enemies happen to have, like you see, like yeah, the Wild Razorback number two, right? His brute is higher. Therefore, you would suspect he's got a high. Well, he must have a higher strength and dexterity. But then you'd suspect that his growth rates for strength and dexterity must be high. But
Mm-hmm.
that's not necessarily the case. There is randomness in level up. So it doesn't always play out as it looks, and that's another fun aspect of this game.
Yeah. All right. I slapped him hard in turn one with my summoner. So now I don't have anyone who can bust up the small guy with one hit. And
That's
so
correct.
I'm going to take my paladin, my second hero, and
And so, yeah, and while you're selecting here, I'll point out too that you can see that you can't choose your first or their second again because you're still in the same round until every player on one team or the other has gone. You're still in the same round. So there's dynamics that come out when it's 3v2 or 1v3 that get really interesting here as well. But we'll get to that later.
yeah. So then my summoner who's doing a lot of he's slapping these hogs around. I decided to go after the first hog instead of going after the second hog. I don't know if that was the right choice or not. So I knocked that guy out, and now
Yep.
I need to pick. I'm gonna go for calculated again on the second guy because that worked out pretty good, and so I'm just gonna choose my hero with the higher calculated damage, which is 17. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna knock him out. I do beat him, and my round's complete. I'm probably gonna use now that I'm like low on. He's low on health. Anyone can beat him if I pick right. I'm not gonna pick my summoner, and I'm not gonna pick my monk. I'm gonna pick my paladin because if I lose a turn, like I want my guy with lots of. Well, actually, my monk has higher health right now, so maybe I'll do that.
And the other thing I would say too is if he's got low HP, you probably want to choose a low attack because of the draw mechanics too. Like, in rock, paper,
That's
scissors,
true.
if we both choose rock, you're going to draw. And what we've kind of settled on, at least at the moment, is basically you have the sum of the two damages gets split evenly. So if you do a really big attack and he's only got 5 HP left, well, maybe you did 20 damage to him, but you're going to take 20 damage as well. So choosing a small value accordingly is a very smart play.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm now on to the haunted cabin. I'm going to take a very similar
Ooh.
approach with my summoner, trying to pick on who appears to be the brute. Now, I lost. I lost. I took damage here. That is unfortunate.
Yeah, and so that's where, again, those stats at the bottom, it is still random. I think for PVE mode, we'll have a lot of this where it is random based on the stats. I think another fun thing that we've kind of cooking up for our story mode, where we might have some more thematic enemies or enemies that maybe there's a prelude to them, you get a little information. They may or may not have an attack pattern. And if you're paying attention and unlocking secrets, you know, perhaps someone will tip their hand as to what the attack pattern of these enemies might be.
Right.
There you go. Oh, gee, I wonder what's at the. Yeah.
At the wolf den.
Uh,
Yeah.
by the way, I love the artwork here. Uh, when you sent me this image for this background, I'm like, I know exactly what enemies need to go in here.
That's awesome.
And I would say the other thing, you know, the not so subtle hint on this page, it's somewhat of a tutorial, but what do you think it is? It perhaps involves colors.
Hey, can you say that again? I'm sorry, I was
Oh
wrapped
yeah,
up in my
sorry.
decision.
The there's a not so subtle hint on this page that's almost like a tutorial, and it's using colors to kind of help guide you.
Oh, right. That green is what he is favoring. I like that a lot.
Yeah, so this emerald direwolf, I mean, it's if you in the game proper, that's a pet that is an emerald
Hmm.
direwolf, I believe. So I thought that was a fun little way to show that basically he's going to choose more likely than not,
Now
more often than not,
he's
calculated.
taken. Now I've chosen brute both times, and he has also chosen brute both times. So
Yep.
we're just
And I under
swinging
the hood,
away.
that's funny. I think under the hood I have it set up to pick between like ninjas and thieves, right? So you can
Right.
have some thieves out there that
Pick
have pretty
something
solid
else.
strength.
All right. So I need to go to the cart path. Nothing there. Forest path. Oh, I fell into the trap. That's that's disappointing.
So yeah, keep in mind there are some secrets, and searching, while it does take a turn, it can save you some being tossed into some unknown room that you're not exactly sure.
Oh, here I'm fighting against the squirrels, which my almost 9 year old son absolutely loved.
Did he? Oh, that's hilarious.
All right, so now with these squirrels, okay, so this yellow guy here, does he have? Is he just yellow because he is? Or does
So,
he have a backing?
oh, they all have a backing. Yes, I would say that your more neutral colors, your yellows, your oranges, and purples, don't necessarily have a sway. That's, thematically, they're kind of neutral. Or grays and browns, right? But if it definitely looks red, green, or blue, perhaps we're tipping our hand a little bit.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, are you kind of is there any other things you're noticing as you click through and play, or what you're looking out for?
I'm really paying attention to, um, first to the enemies, primary, assuming that their growth rates apply with their stats. And you could be like you said, it's an educated guess. So
Hmm.
I like this. So um
And yeah, and the fun, yeah, that's exactly it. Is in trying to keep track and remember in your head which enemy chose what last time to help also steer you. Now, sure, if they've got a 10% chance to choose something, it's going to come up every once in a while, but still, it helps to kind of pay attention. And we explicitly did not want to show you or keep track of on the sidebar what you had chosen. We want it to be kind of like you need to pay attention. Sure, you want to write it down on the side, go ahead. But it's kind of that thing where we want you to enjoy this kind of mind game, even if it's just with some simple randomness here until we get to our PvP system.
yeah, I love the names here. Protective deer, angry fawn. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, when I saw this piece of artwork that you generated, um, I could not help but like there's got to be deer in this clearing. Did you and it sounds like you've had a couple pods out there now with your AI artwork. So this you're kind of seeing the fruits of it here. This is where your interest in it started, is it not?
Yeah, it's taking form and I love it. It's and um we decided a while ago between like when we made the tutorial and now to go with a more cartoon style. And I feel like, all right, so now I got through the forest challenge that took us, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. And we're wanting these to be fun, fast to do battles. I ended up getting above par here. So 100%, I think, right? That's how that works. Or is that still be just because I have my admin rights on. But we beat the mini. I beat the mini boss, beat the regular boss, and I have one guy who made it through with 3 health left, so he barely made it.
Yeah, I believe that yeah, you was par 34.
I don't remember off the
You can
top
always
of
go
my.
back and click on it through too. It'll show you if you go back to it as if you're going to start another one. But yeah, I
Oh,
believe
it
you
was
so
it was 36.
oh, so you nailed it. Wow. Yeah, you would have gotten a lesser score, I believe, if you had taken one extra turn. And again, losing heroes is a little more devastating to
A
your
lot more
score. Not
detrimental.
yeah, and we'll push all
Yep.
that information out too as part of our FAQ or white paper. So that's pretty
And
impressive. You nailed it right at par.
And amazingly, I just got a notification from the ADFK website that said hundreds, not 100, 10 crystal wagered, score 100%. And those tickets are sent to 1,667 tickets are sent to my primary registered address. So that's pretty freaking awesome, man.
Nice. So that's yeah, that's honestly probably our first real big test. I've tested this in a development environment, but yeah, I'm glad to see that that kind of went off pretty well there. It's kind of crossed my fingers a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is, I guess to go back to I kind of ventured away from the question you asked about the seeing the art come to life. I mean, it feels like it's now full circle. It's a lot of fun. We've been putting a lot of time and effort into this in a lot of different ways, and yeah, it. I don't know. I'm getting immersed, and so I really hope that our community enjoys this as much as we do, and we're planning on like this mode that's the forest challenge. Um, while it certainly took time to develop the underlying structure, we could start to spin out, monthly challenges, right?
That's right. Yeah, and we have a lot of other ideas on what's going to make these dungeons more difficult, more things to think about, more aspects of a hero that might be involved. And so we will incentivize people to move away from this more basic forest challenge in the future um, as we add more complexities. And then again, par will adjust as we add more difficulty. I don't really. I really want to say more, but I should hold off. See, this is not even out yet. I can't give away what the next the next stuff is. Yeah.
Just know that we're working on more ideas in the background. So yeah, we really hope that everyone likes this, and we are. I mean, we are so close. I mean, like Neindorf just said, like this is we're getting through the alpha and beta testing, and I think depending on how bad the community wants this, might determine is it like soon or is it in a little while. But we're about to release this, and I'm excited, and I hope you guys are excited too. These are the heroes that I brought today are heroes that I have in my wallet that I actually like that I just summoned, and so like that's where it's coming kind of really full circle to these are the fruits of your labors of what you're bringing in, and you're wagering crystal in this case, um, to play this game that you otherwise would be wagering for duels. And so this is I feel like a fully functional PvE, and it's something that we're really invested in.
Yeah, real quick, I do want to point out too that I don't want anybody to be concerned if they wager crystal. If something goes wrong, we'll get your back, right? We're not just gonna run away with a few crystal. But B, also, if you run out of time or you get distracted, like these games will stay there forever. They're every time you click a turn and you submit an action, it's basically saved off. So you could at any time close your browser and you can always continue that game. Your wager will be there waiting for you to finish it. Take your time if you need to. So I just wanted to make sure I threw that out there so people weren't concerned, that if they didn't finish a game that they would lose their value there. No, it's all maintained for them.
Love that. Yeah, that I mean helpful and reassuring to know. And yeah, I hope our community knows that we're in this for the long term for the benefit of the community. So as we start to release this, if and this isn't a totally closed beta either. So if you want to do this and you have not tried it yet, hit us up. And I see Ben Force saying, looks like fun. I think my kids would love to have a go at this. Yeah. Mine did too. I know yours did as well, Nine Dwarfs.
Yeah, we've
So,
had both of our kids play it. It's the cartoon nature of it and the fact that when you do damage, the heroes just kind of run like step forward at the moment.
yeah.
It's very, very PG. There's nothing here that you're gonna see ever that's gonna be like, whoa,
Oh,
like what was that?
yeah. Not like the early days of DFK where you'd end up with a hero without clothes on.
Better than the floating eyeballs. That one was fun
Right,
too.
right. Uh, yeah, it was funny. The first time it was like the day you release this on like a Friday morning, and then I had a busy day at work, so then I played it on Saturday morning. I got like a 94%, and my son's like, "What are you playing?" And I was like, "Oh, this is the game we built." And he's like, "Oh, Dad, can I play?" And then he got like a 96%, and I'm like, "Oh gosh, darn it!" Like, and then my competitive nature came out right away, and I was like, "All right, I gotta beat his score now."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, I was like, I picked better heroes for you, so that's
You bet.
it was fun.
Yeah, and the only other thing too, I'm just as I'm looking at the screen here, as you can see, your par score does go up more if you choose less, if you bring less heroes with you because it's the extra difficulty there. And you didn't, I don't believe you ever had to do a rest, did you? Or didn't choose to?
I did not choose to do a rest. No,
Okay. Yeah, so that's something that else, if you had that three hero, 3 bar of health left, uh, and you knew you hadn't won yet, that's where you might think about throwing a rest down to help recover some of that HP. Now,
I
if you encountered a pack of two here or two enemies, you would never have had to choose that hero. You could have kind of kept him on the sideline. But if you would have encountered a pack of three enemies, you have to go 3 to 3 to complete that turn, that round rather.
yeah,
So,
and
fun things
I
to think about
I
there.
may or may not have chosen a hero that has an Easter egg to them that I
Oh,
I hope someone finds out in the future has to do with
nice.
health. All right,
Perfect.
so that's all we had planned for tonight. Again, hit us up if you're interested in being a part of the closed beta. Really, the only stipulation is you have to give us feedback. That that's it, and we'd like for you to have an opportunity to play, wager a little bit of crystal to earn some raffle tickets before we release this out to the community. Really excited about what we have to offer here, and hoping that people enjoy this once it gets out in the wild. All right, well, that's it for the ADFK group tonight. So thank you for tuning in, and take care.
Absolutely. Have a good night, everybody.